This week on the music news, 070 Shake and Ken Carson teamed up to create one of the best songs all year. That dropped today. I just thought I'd let you know because the song is incredible. The Grammy nominations came out, and for once they didn't butcher the Rap Album of the Year category. And the musical show's back. Hey guys, welcome. Let's get this over and done with. Starting off with Zell4s, that's what he is on SoundCloud, with Fish Tank. The opener and title track Fish Tank had some interesting samples and was kind of great, but then the rest of the EP happened. Stingray/Stung was bland, uninteresting, and the second half sucked ass. Drift was, to put it simply, horrifically bland. I can't speak, I've got a sore mouth. And Slippery could have been good if it wasn't so goddamn annoying. Those synths were super great after a while. Save and Tiff was even more annoying with downright awful synths that made my ears bleed, and Close of Aquarium was easily the best song. The progression was good, as was the instrumental and variation of synths, and overall was a great way to close the EP off. And yeah, in reality, this EP is sort of a testament to how this guy has grown as an artist and sort of mastered how to use the studio app thing he uses and not sound awful. But these were his roots. 3.2 out of 10. It didn't start off the best. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 albums are the amount I listened to this week. I sound like I'm on Big Brother. Anyway, that's my whole life, by the way. Trish to win. Go on, my gal. Let's start off this with Jason Aldean with Highway Desperado. Modern country pop album is bad? No way! Honestly, since Taylor Swift turned pop, the only things to have came out of country seems to be that actual country. Country pop, however, is awful. Jason is one of those conservative industry plants who don't have actually much musical talent, but still make it. He panders on, as expected, on the notoriously corny and offensive Try That in a Small Town, which would still be awful if it wasn't because the song's just bad. And even on other songs, such as Open a Tough Ground, he spreads bullshit in the most corny way possible. That aside, it's all usual country pop garbage that is boring, corny, and progressively ticks boxes of things that need to be mentioned in country albums, otherwise the world ends. That is always plain boring, and always have awful instrumentals, especially on, say, Who's Rave You? Ironic that I'm calling an album out for ticking boxes by someone who seems to call TV out for ticking boxes. Black people, have you not got a life? So yeah, this is atrocious. Of course it is. At its worst, it's offensive, and at its best, it's still boring, and the closing title track, Highway Desperado, is the only track that's tolerable. The worst country album to come out in what has been a pretty poor year for it. Congratulations, 0.7 out of 10. On to Zoe Wees with Therapy. If you think Lewis Capaldi sucks, then you haven't met this one yet. I'm saying one, this woman yet. She seems cool as a person, but this thing is corporate, drab, and bland that it's hard to even comprehend. It's so corporate. Yip. Songs were so samey from the lyricism, which is fair enough, being unoriginal and annoying because of how boring the instrumentals are. They were either boring ballad shit we've heard as many times or boring pop shit we've heard even more times. Amongst this, especially on songs such as Girls Like Us, the vocals were painfully bad and insanely annoying. Only underscores can do a good song called Girls Like Us. We can tell. Sort of feels like Renee Rapp, if you know who she is, who I definitely need to listen to the album that she dropped this year, because I've heard bits and her vocals are insane. But it's just a tryhard version who just doesn't have the same musical talent. At least she pulls her shit off well. Holy shit. However, I'd be lying if I said the chorus on You Ain't Really Good For Me didn't hit, or that's how it goes, was just solid all round. But that aside, it was so bland that I can't extend my thoughts for it much longer. Said all that needs to be said. 1.1 out of 10. Moving on to Marshmello with Sugar Pappy. And if the album title doesn't tell you all you need to know about the album's quality, I don't know what will. Maybe this review, that's why I wrote it. Marshmello has always been bombastic and laughably bad, but here, he's just boring. People are calling this boring. It really is. The instrumentals were often of a reggaeton vibe, or at least had elements of the genre, such as the boringness, and man, fuck reggaeton. one song structure, and it wasn't even good the first time. As for the songs that win in that field, such as Harley Quinn, you would be very surprised at the sheer contrast in quality, as that song, while basic and produced not very well, nothing was, it slapped. Anyway, there's a whole album of material, and everything else bar open a tempo was garbage. I specifically want to talk about Alcohol, as it has flaws every other song has, just elevated. It's overproduced to absolute fuck, the vocals suck ass, and it's so bland. Como Yo is awful for very similar reasons, and Sal Musa de Veral is mainly basic, terrible as it starts basic and ends up trying to do too much and just not sounding good. If you're going to be basic, at least stick to it, because then you might be semi-tolerable. So, yeah, overall, this thing is bland, annoying, terribly produced, and shows how talentless Marshmallow is. 1.9 out of 10. Next up is Jungkook with Golden. True on the first half. I thought people were overhating this, as well as this wasn't great, and songs such as 3D were pretty awful, and man, that Jack Harlow feature shows that. Has he really improved? As much as Jackman was a good album, like, he's fallen back already. Oh yeah, and 7 had an awful chorus, but it didn't seem awful aside from that, more just like bleh. Standing Next to You was overproduced as fuck and basic, but like it was a bop. I don't give a shit. I know there's 8 remixes of it. I think that's pretty terrible and dumb, but like, it was fun. Then the second half came, and it was the most bland and boring pop and ballad I've ever heard. Too Sad to Dance and Please Don't Change were awful, to put it simply, and so bland that I can't even describe its awfulness in detail. So, yeah, overall, the vocals were mainly solid. There were some poor vocal performances dotted around. The instrumentals sucked, the hook game was awful, and the lyricism in general was at best still average. And trust me, it was so awful at times that seemed impressive. So yeah, didn't like this at all. Fuck you. Fight me. 2.2 out of 10. I tried to say fuck you and fight me at the same time, and I almost said fuck me. Moving on to T Grizzly with T's Coney Island, which came and went without leaving much of an impression at all. The rapping was pretty uninteresting, aside from the odd track like Fantastic Opener Ain't Nothing New, and the beats were insanely boring and samey, which got more annoying as time went on. As for the features, aside from Chris Brown being garbage, especially on City of God, and MGK pretty on The Sopranos, it was okay. Nothing really a note, but it was cool enough. And when I say with MGK, I mean fucking garbage. I lied, it was awful. Anyway, I want to quickly list some individual tracks such as Fight This Case and 3 Sports, as well as 1 or 2 others for being bangers, and songs such as City of God and Gorgeous Remix with City Girls being bland, boring, and in the latter, corny as shit. That, and 1 or 2 others in the department, though aside, this album was just okay. 4.9 out of 10. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Moving on to Penelope Scott with Girls' Night, which I didn't hate. Congratulations. You create tolerable music now, as much as I could already kind of tolerate some of the music that went viral on TikTok. Penelope Scott is pretty hated for being this hella annoying musical artist, yeah. And this is flawed to fuck, but it's not bad. She goes for a sort of old folky vibe thing, and it kind of works. Sue Doft is her best song by a mile. It was produced excellently, and as much as it was basic, it did the basics fucking right. However, follow-up Over the Moon was just annoying. Cabaret and Cabaret 2, which combined are 10 to 11 minutes long, aren't awful, but have so many awful moments, and the vocals really sucked. Like, she sounded so emotionless, like she was kind of forced to go into the studio and go over it. And, yeah, it just wasn't great. As good as the instrumentals kind of were, and as interesting as the songs were, it was just, yeah. Runaway was a decent enough track, although it did come and go, whilst Closer Highlight on My Life feels more like a usual style, except this time it was produced far better, sort of fit in with the EP, and it was just better than most songs in her discography. So yeah, overall, I said so yeah twice in a row. This is an inconsistent crop of songs with inconsistent quality vocal rise and production that was either great or horrendous, but like it's not bad. It's 5.1 out of 10. It's alright. Moving on to Jimmy Buffett with Equal Strain on All Parts. It's a real shame that this has been released in such sad circumstances. Of course, rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett. Phenomenal career. Yeah. And, it's a shame that the send-off for his career is of such a horribly melancholic nature, and he can never see this release. But, onto the music. If I'm being honest, I'm not going to like it because he's dead. That sounds so brutal, but, like, I'm not, because that would just be wrong. It worked sometimes and didn't work other times. Songs such as Bubbles Up and Like My Dog, and the cute wholesome ones in general were cute and wholesome, and also fire. And vocally, for a man near his death and struggling with an aggressive cancer, who was also in his mid-70s, I was pretty fucking impressed, I'm not even gonna lie. As, honestly, I don't know how people get to their 70s and even know how to hold a note for 5 seconds. So yeah. Lyrically though, it just wasn't for me. University of Bourbon Street and the hook of My Gummy Just Kicked In was so corny to me. Although it'll be fun to someone, it has its appeal. It was made for a reason. To appeal to a certain type of audience, which isn't fully me, but I can respect it. So yeah, it wasn't a bad send-off, and I presume it's just typical Jimmy Buffett, which will appeal to his fans. It is a nice way to bow out, doing what you've always done and doing what the people who listen to you love. Like, fair enough. And yeah, it was all right. It was pretty decent in parts. 5.6 out of 10. It wasn't bad. Moving on to Kevin Abstract with Blanket. I admired this album as much as it didn't quite hit. The instrumental palette took a rock route, which sure, didn't hit like it did for Lil Yachty, but it was certainly interesting if nothing else. However, the instrumentals themselves musically varied between amazing in tracks such as the title track and awful in tracks such as Running Out. Vocally, I'm not going to be nice, it just sucked. Sure, it didn't necessarily ruin songs, but they didn't go unnoticed for not being very good at all, and they did ruin some songs, such as like Scream. Overall, though, there's a lot to admire about this album. The fact Kevin attempted it at all, and the highlights that are absolutely there, such as like Blanket, the title track, are there to be respected, and as much as it was often basic, and the vocals left a lot to be desired, and as much as it's mid, I do respect it, and yeah. It was worth a try, as much as I didn't like it, but yeah, it's a shame. It looks like Brockhampton was a sum of all of its parts, more than it was any single member having any talent. Specifically, that was huge, because the solo efforts have not hit. 5.8 out of 10. Next up is Jeezy with I Might Forgive, But I Don't Forget. At this point, Jeezy is over 20 years into his rap career, and still, he sounds fresh and has kept the sound that has given him such a big cult following, and honestly, thank God he did. It's a fire sound. He sounds so good, and as good as he's always done, and is as passionate as he's always been, and the beats often had a really nice sound, and from front to back was super well produced. Songs such as Sad and Couldn't Lose If I Tried, as well as When Pac Died, were downright phenomenally produced, and up there with the best on this behemoth of an album. 29 songs. With this length, it does fall off a bit in the second half as ideas get more and more repetitive and less fun to listen to, culminating tracks such as Claim to Fame and My Intentions not being very good. I want to specifically talk about My Intentions as it has a key flaw that is present on a fair few tracks on this album. The singing. Jeezy sings. Sadly, because he can't. And he can't miss on a hook when he doesn't, so I don't know why he does. Like, why? Lyricism-wise, it was pretty inoffensive. It didn't really catch my attention because you don't listen to a Jeezy album for any specific anything other than just bangers, really. And this had bangers. Overall, it was too long. Absolutely. And it's absolutely nothing special. He's done this multiple times. But it's consistently solid, and overall, a pretty respectable showing from who is becoming a veteran rapper. Pretty happy with how this turned out, honestly. 6.9 out of 10. Next up is Spiritbox with A Fear of Fear. They may not touch new territory, but they have such an incredible and interesting sound that it doesn't matter all that much. Open a Cellar Door has phenomenal production and is incredible. Easily the best on the EP. I could sing its praises for ages. Or scream them to be more accurate to Spiritbox. The follow-up, Jaded, has amazing vocals and the same amazing qualities, even if slightly more basic, instrumentally. Too Close / Too Late was well structured, but at this point, Spiritbox seemed to rely on the sound that they've used the entire album and pretty much used their whole career. And it sounded basic, and The Void, same story, I'm not going to just repeat myself. And then Ultraviolet came in, and it was really synthy and a cool change of pace for the band, even if it wasn't produced to its full potential. As much as it is a good song, the chorus didn't quite hit as much as it wasn't bad or anything. And yeah, overall, it's nothing they've ever done before, nothing they've never done before even, but hey, Spiritbox of Fire, so I can live with that. Great EP. 8.2 out of 10. But at the top, it is The Alchemist with Flying High Part 2. I think you'll know by now, I've given Larry June an 8 on his Alchemist project. I gave the first Flying High a 7, although I'm not sure how much that rating holds out because it was pretty basic. I gave Mike an 8 on his album with him. And as much as I skip Voya Dyer, I'm convinced I probably really like it. Because I probably will listen eventually. So, yeah. You'll probably know, if you know me, and have watched this show, that I love The Alchemist. And this is no different. This is amazing. Hearing him rap on Open a Taker's Link was really nice, and that beat was amazing, as was the one in Phil Drummond. But what really surprised me was how energetic Conley sounded. That's not his usual vibe, really, energy, but he brought a fuck ton of it. Honestly, he's had some really good features this year that have gone unnoticed. This one, the one on the Rory album, I thought it might be different. He's a good feature artist, even if you don't like his actual music. Vertigo was fairly basic, but insanely well produced and a great all-round track. Royal Ham was a really interesting left turn that was just perfect. And overall, phenomenal song, phenomenal beat, phenomenal everything. Close Up Ain't Different, though, was definitely the weakest and nothing special, but still, it was a solid cut, and overall, this thing has great sampling, is cohesive, and far more flavourful than the first Flying High EP, which will probably grow off me on re-listen quite a bit, and it continues its phenomenal 2023 run. Never change the formula, man, it works so much. 8.5 out of 10. I love The Alchemist. He's the best producer of all time in my eyes. He's better than Ye, slightly better than Madlib, as much as I do really like Madlib. Danger Mouse is amazing. He's probably the closest to him in my eyes. Obviously, there's a number of others. Obviously, if you're going to go round to the trap ways, I think B&X could be a great. Metro already is, but I think The Alchemist tops it. You've also got to mention other phenomenal beats he's had, such as the one on the Danny Brown track that released the other week, Tanto. That song's phenomenal. Lost Forever, of course, as much as that was made years ago. Great beat. But I'm not going to yap about The Alchemist for too much longer, as much as there is an album released by a guy who released an album with him this week. But it's with Cardo. It's Larry June. I might as well just spoil it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 albums I'm listening to this week. Starting off, I might as well start off with it because I've already mentioned it, and I've already mentioned this guy a lot. It's Larry June with The Night Shift, which is a collab album with Cardo that featured 2 Chainz, Dej Loaf, Schoolboy Q. Oh, it does feature The Alchemist, hey! Blast, which is just an interlude. Too Short, Peasy. I like Peasy. Special on features. Jordan Ward, Payroll Giovanni, and Aleman. 17 songs, 52 minutes long. I am super excited for this. 8. Cannot wait. I really like Larry June. I think his style's really good. And this looks like it will be more of the same. Rick Ross has dropped his collab album with Meek Mill that seemed to come out of nowhere, which is called Too Good To Be True, which features Cool and Dre, Beam, Vori, Fabulous, Vori again, Tiana Taylor, DJ Khaled, I don't know why. Although, if any album's going to need a hype man, it's probably this one, because it's going to be hype shit. Wale, The Dream, Jeremy, French Montana, Future, Shaquille O'Neal, and Dame Dollar. Because they're both basketball artists. Basketball players. Well, obviously Shaquille O'Neal doesn't play anymore, but still, who are also music artists. 17 songs, 59 minutes. 5. It's going to be pretty bloated and overproduced, I reckon. Trippie Redd with St. Michael, which has a song called 7 a.m. in Ohio. Also features Banks on the last song. 7 songs, 17 minutes long. Great. I don't like Trippie Redd. I think he sucks. Youngboy Never Broke Never Broke Again. NBA Youngboy. First album in 6 months. That is a long time for Youngboy. With the sequel to Decided, the OG Decided is your usual Youngboy, but it's got bangers. He evolves his sound a little bit. It features Rod Wave on this one, because of course it does. 18 songs, 1 hour, 1 minute. It's probably going to be like a 4 or a 5, I don't know. Pink Pantheress, I've already listened to. It is Heaven Knows. It features Rema, Central C, Kalela, and Ice Spice, of course. 13 songs, 34 minutes long. Do I like it? Do I not? Do you like it? Do you not? Have you even heard it? Do you know who Pink Pantheress is? Questions. I'm not going to answer any of them. And I'm just going to move on to the Kid Laroi with The First Time, which features Jungkook, Central C, Future, Baby Drill, NBA Youngboy, as well as Robert Glasper. Oh, that's a cool collab. David, because he's made it, David, man. He got the song with 21 Savage as well for Call of Duty. And he's on his tour. He big now. But yeah, 20 songs, 51 minutes long, 3. The Kid Laroi sucks. Chris Brown, everyone's least favourite artist, I hope. Apart from the fact he has 46 million monthly listeners for some reason. With 1111, with one of the worst album covers I've ever seen, which features Davido and Loje, Future, Mater, Friday, Byron Messier. 22 songs, 1 hour 7 minutes. I don't even know if this is the full album, because he said he'd release it in 2 parts, but I don't know what's going on, because it was meant to be released tomorrow. That's why it's called 11/11 for November the 11th. I don't know what's going on, but I guess we'll find out. But I predict it to be a 2 either way, because Chris Brown sucks. Lola Brooke with Dennis Daughter, which features Coi Leray, Nisha, French Montana, Bryson Tiller, Latto and Young Miami. 12 songs, 32 minutes long. It's probably like a 4 or a 3. Aesop Rock with Integrated Tech Solutions, which features Billy Woods, Haniel Khatib, Liani, Rob Sonic, and Nicky Jean. 18 songs, 1 hour 4 minutes. Fuck it, 8. Why not? HAR with The Maybe Man, everyone's least favourite band. 12 songs, 44 minutes. People are saying this is good. I'm going to say a 4. But people are saying it's good. I hope it is good, because I want these to make a good album. Please. Alan Walker, everyone's favourite artist from way back when, with Walker World, which featured Dyer, Steve Aoki, Lonely Club, Dash Berlin, Vicstar? As in Vicstar 123. It features fucking Vicstar 123. That's actually really funny. Zach Abel, Sasha Alex Sloan, Sophie Stray, Ali Gatti, Sophie Stray again. 10 songs, 27 minutes. Vicstar 123. Fucking Vicstar, man. 2. 1. The fuck? Oh, James Marriott, who's another one of those YouTube artists with Are We There Yet? But he's meant to actually be kind of tolerable. 10 songs, 31 minutes. I'll say like a 3. Just to be safe, because it probably is garbage. But if it's not, I don't think there's no chance of it not being no chance of it not being garbage. I'm not going to rule it out being good, but I'm just playing it safe. Chasing Status with Too Rough Volume 1, which features Stefflon Don, Head X, RD, Ira, Flowdan, Trigger, Takora, Ira, I already mentioned him. Clementine Douglas, Savo and Horrid One, as well as Takora, Quengface and Mr. Naira. 10 songs, 34 minutes long. It's probably gonna be like a 3. Chris Stapleton, everyone's favourite modern country artist with Higher. 14 songs, 54 minutes long, 7. And finally, Kodak Black, everyone's least favourite artist, because he's fucking trashed, with When I Was Dead, which features Wiz the Wizard, Twice, One Spin the Bin, and OG Bobby Billions. 18 songs, 51 minutes long, 2. 23 minutes, that's like the shortest one in ages. I'm not missing anything, because I checked this morning to see if I was missing anything, and I was actually missing a fair bit, and there was a couple of albums that were meant to drop, but didn't. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you next week, good night.